Hello guys, welcome to Thermomixing Adventures. Lisa here. Hey look, today I'm going to show you how easy it is to make some gluten-free wraps. Now don't look away if you are gluten loving because there's tips for you today as well, and I'm going to give you some recommendations around recipes to use. Now if you are still buying wraps, this is going to save you a lot of money. You can literally make it for the cheap. I didn't even have to go shopping for these ingredients. If you are already cooking gluten-free, chances are you have these ingredients in your pantry already and you just whip them up as you need them to. Now I'm making them because this evening my kids are in charge of a cooking day a week. They've got to make a lunch, a dinner and a snack. And tonight is chicken enchiladas for the 7-year-old. He's making those. And he just made beautiful prawn saganas and something. I'll put a picture up later. Can't remember how to pronounce it, but it was really yummy. And he also made pumpkin scones this morning. And so, yeah, chicken enchiladas off cookie dough tonight, which is going to be really yummy. So gluten-free wraps it is. I could spend $5, $7, $5 for normal glutinous filled ones, or $7, $8, $9 for gluten-free wraps, or I can make it myself with what I've got. So guess what? Gonna make it myself. On Cookie Dough, you'll find a gluten-free tortilla wrap. It is based on rice. Now, it says brown rice flour. Don't buy brown rice flour. Save yourself some money and just have brown rice on hand to use as you need to. We buy it in big buckets, right? We buy most of our things that are flours and stuff, seeds in 5 kilos. But if you have a bag of it and you just use it intermittently, put it in the fridge or freezer. Airtight it, put it in something else, a container, glad bag, something. Put it airtight in the fridge or freezer and it'll just last indefinitely, okay? Never throw rice out. It doesn't really go off. So let's get started on this recipe. The first thing it asks for is this brown rice flour, and I've actually milled my own. So I literally put in brown rice and I milled it. If you don't have brown rice, use white rice, okay? It'll work perfectly fine. You'll just get a whiter tortilla. Won't really matter, or wrap. By the way, say hi if you're watching on today. Just means that Facebook then knows that you want to see these videos come up in your newsfeed. Otherwise, they disappear eventually. These are also super handy for making, if you overcook them, corn chips. Not corn chips. They don't have corn in them. But, you know, like triangles. If you overcook these, you can use them as dippers for your dip. Make yourself nachos with them. Like, they're beautiful if you happen to accidentally overcook them, okay? Or just eat them as a snack. Put on some salt, happy days, okay? So, 170 grams of brown rice flour. So I milled down 170 grams of brown rice, and it took about 50 seconds. I could hear by then that it had kind of stopped doing anything. I did put 1 minute on the timer on speed 10, but I could hear by 50 seconds it was done. Okay, arrowroot flour. So I actually use tapioca. Same. They're different, but they actually respond the same. It's that grittiness that you could expect, and it's 60 grams. Grittiness? That's the wrong word. What's that feeling? It's like corn flour. Floatiness. Oops, 70 grams. That'll do. Yeah, it's slimy. If you ever wet it because you've washed it, like you've dropped it somewhere and you have to wipe it up, it's slimy. So gritty is not the right word. Gluten-free baking powder. So that's this stuff, half a teaspoon. And it goes. Next up we've got, this is so simple, like if you are buying them, you need to make them. Like, and I'm going to show you the tricks today so it keeps your kitchen clean, so that it keeps your utensils clean. It's done in seconds. Okay, xanthan gum, 1 teaspoon. I know I'm using a big dessert spoon, but I'm not putting much on it, okay? I needed a long spoon. Somebody has taken out of here my long teaspoon that usually lives in the xanthan gum. If you don't have xanthan gum, you know, those of you gluten-free, you probably do, but you might have gar gum. Use that instead, okay? Easy, same swap. Some salt. It's over here, half a teaspoon. I'm actually going to add in some mixed spice into this. So there's my half a teaspoon. Don't skimp on that, otherwise it tastes like you're eating just flour. It's not pleasant. What have I got over here? Mixed herbs, just to get a flavor. And you could add spinach leaves into this. You could add, like, you know how you can buy ones that are seeded or colored or whatever. You can do that still with these, okay? Nothing liquidy though. It'll change that liquid content, okay? On with the measuring cup. What I am going to do first of all is I'm going to knock down this rice flour because it's sitting up the sides. Get that down into the bowl so it becomes part of our wraps. This is such a quick recipe, like it's incredible, and you could double it easily, okay? Next, I probably should have. 10 seconds speed 4, off it goes. You're going to need butter and some oil next. This is just combining those dry ingredients together. And to the point that I'm just going to skip it, okay? It's taking a little bit of time. Hello, Linda. Lovely to have you on today. Next up, we've got some butter. Now, if you can't do butter, what's the alternative here? Because I do know some of you guys are watching because we predominantly do dairy-free, gluten-free, and mostly sugar-free. What I would do is I would put my coconut oil in the fridge and I would set it. Okay, this time of year it is hot, it is warm. The coconut oil has liquidified. Is that a word? Liquidified? You know what I mean? It's gone runny. It's like an oil now. But in winter, it's set solid like butter, and it's a great swap. Like I often use it in baking in winter. When it says butter, I just put in coconut oil. Okay. So the only thing it doesn't work for is butter cake, where you're wanting a butter flavor, right? You've got to have something else that gives flavor. So I would set the coconut oil in the fridge. I'd take my, a scoop of it, put it in the fridge to set, and then use it in here. It's got to be set. You're needing that set butter. This is not melting. If it was a recipe that called for melting butter, melted butter, melting. Oh my goodness, melted butter, then of course, or where you melt it through the recipe, you get away with then you at this time of year, that coconut oil. Okay, I hope that makes sense. 30 grams, a little whisker more. It does say salted. I don't have salted. We only have unsalted. But anyway, use what you've got. If you've got unsalted, it means you could put a little bit more salt in it if you'd like. I'm not going to. All right, so 41 grams. Next up. By the way, I had a little find at the supermarket the other day. A lot of times I do click and collect at our local Woolworths. And I normally buy this stuff. I found the grass-fed stuff. Now it is only 400 grams, but per kilo it is cheaper. Instead of 500 grams, okay, 400 grams. It is actually cheaper per kilo than this stuff. So watch me swap for a little while. I don't know for how long. I don't know how long it's been. But yeah, I was really impressed. I was like, oh, grass-fed butter. So all right, 1 teaspoon of oil, just be a Jamie Oliver teaspoon, okay, guesstimate. And then it's going to ask for some water at the end to make it come together. Oops, didn't like that. I need to put the lid on, okay? Get the turbo ready. So it looks like it's going to turbo. So let's go back to our recipe. Lid gets locked. And now it says spin the selector. I'm just actually looking around in a hopes that I've got some water around here. So I'm just going to spin this one time. That's what it told me to do. Then it says go next and add 120 mils. I normally have a jug of water. I know where it is. It's got my coconut milk. Excuse me for 1 second while I grab some water. The other day I got really organized on the weekend and I made some coconut milk and a whole lot of different stuff actually. And the coconut milk is not quite finished in the fridge. Usually I've got a jug of water that just lives in here and I know where it is. Now you might have noticed the scales were negative because I took the lid off. So I hit the tear button, make them go back to 0. So 120. I promise as the days go on, I'll be more organized. All right. Actually, I can't wait to get in my kitchen. That's going to be phenomenal. All right, 110. I'll go a little whisker more. There we go. You don't want to go too heavy. That is something that, if my kids were making this, I'd be standing over their shoulder watching to make sure they weren't too heavy-handed. You guys know that I'm pretty lenient on amounts, but when you're talking about a small amount of dough, well, it's not a small amount, but it's not massive. You got to be a bit more precise. Otherwise, this could be really sticky, and it will be really hard to work with if it's sticky. All right, let's get this finished off and let me show you my tricks to making this super easy. So 6 seconds, speed 3, and let that come together. I'll clear a bit of a space. Okay, next. Now here I've got 2 sheets of baking paper. Now it says to transfer to a silicone surface and shape into a ball. And then it tells you to divide into 8 equal portions. Roll out between 2 pieces of baking paper. Now, this is where the fun begins. Some of you guys have been on cook-alongs, so I will be bringing back cook-alongs this year. We'll resume them, not quite yet, but soon. You'll see them in my newsletter, so keep an eye out for those. And this is some of the techniques you get to learn in cook-alongs. Things like wraps, so that they become your everyday. They become easy. If you're making glutinous ones and you followed the gluten tortilla recipe, which by the way, it's amazing. It's so easy. With that recipe, you have to rest it. So you roll it in your Thermo mat, okay, or put it in some Glad wrap if you have to. And you've got to leave it sit for 20 minutes, okay, because it's gluten filled. So gluten likes to relax, otherwise you can't work with it. Now this is what this looks like. Okay, it's a beautiful dough, and I'm going to approximately divide it into 8, and I'm really just guesstimating. I'm going to go a chunk about the size of the spatula. Okay, and I'm going to put that on my baking paper. Now, if you don't start with a circle, all right, you won't end with a circle. All right, so first things first, either use your hands, or I like to use, excuse the scrunching sound, but I like to use the baking paper to get it together. Now I'm going to put my second bit of baking paper on top, and I'm going to push this out with a rolling pin. This is just a silicone rolling pin. I think they're Kmart, Big W, those sorts of places. It's actually a fondant roller. It used to have little elastic bands on the end that give you your distance for rolling fondant. Okay, they are well long gone, and they're not expensive. I think when I used to buy these are 10 years old, and I've got a few of them, and I think they're like $8 or something. Probably on special at half price. You keep your eye out. Now I'm just pushing this around, and I'm trying to keep it or make it into a circle. Okay. Now these actually are, I find, and I don't know what the recipe says, but I actually cook these with the baking paper attached. I know you might be going, Lisa, what on earth? What did you say? So let me just show you what I mean. Okay, now I'm not going to cook it here and now. I don't have anywhere to. In the new kitchen, I'll have a stove next to me. I'll actually be able to show you. I'll be able to spin the camera around and show you. But I'm in a spare bedroom at the moment. Don't even have a stove top. So I have made this wrap as thick as I want it to be. Okay, so that's how thick it is at this point in time. Pretty thin. Okay. Now if I try and take this top off, it's going to rip, and it's ripping as I speak. You may not be able to see that very well, but it's ripping. What do? You don't take the top off. You now get yourself a hot plate or a fry pan. Don't wet it, don't oil it, don't do anything to it. Dry, okay? And you turn it on to a medium heat. Let it heat up, and once it's at heat, you drop this into it, and you give it about 30 seconds. That's all it takes. Keep an eye on it. It might be 20 seconds with your stovetop. And then you get your egg flip and you put it under everything. Or you know what? I'm going to be honest. I do this. Pick it up, flip it over. Okay? I don't egg flip it. But don't burn your fingers. Okay? This is your safety message. All right? So Lisa just flicks up the corner and picks it up and flips it over. If you got a really high-sided pan, then obviously you should egg flip it over, okay? This side will now, because you flipped it, and this side spent 20 seconds, 30 seconds down, it's cooked. This will peel off beautifully. Put it aside and finish this one. So give it another 20, 30 seconds on the other side. Take it out and put it on a plate. Put a towel over it. You want it to sweat, okay? Hear that. You want it to sweat. If you don't let it sweat, it's going to dry out. If it dries out, what's it going to do? It's going to go hard. You can't wrap it like a tortilla if it's rock hard, okay? It makes it really hard. Trust me, that's when it becomes those corn chip style things, okay? But literally, you'll have to play with this because your stovetop's going to be a little different to mine. And actually, I do mine on the hot plate of my barbecue. I've got a big flat hot plate. So I will do 4 of these at a go. All right, but as soon as you've then flip the second side, you can take that piece of baking paper off, and then you can roll out on the 2 bits of baking paper and keep going. You're only making 8, okay, unless you make them smaller. Now I often get my dish, because these are going into enchiladas, I've got a glass Pyrex dish that I use, and I make these the width of the dish, so that this is the size they go in. If you want to make smaller ones because you're giving it to somebody or you're gifting it away, and that you want to put it in that size dish, make them smaller. That works as well. Okay, you can literally make these the size you want. You can make it 12 or you can make it 6. Okay, you decide what you want to do with the shape and size. I've also been known to make squares because they're a little bit easier to roll. Okay, again, totally up to you. But my tip is start with a circle. If you start with a circle, it's easier to keep to a circle. But even if this is glutinous, even if this is flour tortillas, okay? Now, there's no point me trying to pull this apart. It is too thin. It is just going to... Where's that paper? Yeah, I've forgotten how to drive my cameras. See how, like, it's just breaking? Can you guys see that top corner? Like, it's so thin that it just breaks. So there's no point taking these off until that point of on the stove top. And the flour tortillas, exactly the same. Roll them between baking paper. Cook them between baking paper. It's such a clean way of cooking. There's no oil involved. So these papers are coming out a little crispy, but not wet, not dirty. You can recycle them later and put them in quiche dishes and make quiches with them later. Like I actually recycle mine a fair bit until they're pretty dead. So the stovetop's clean. That's all done. This then, obviously, put it on a pre-wash, pre-clean, or put it in your dishwasher, however you like. But it is so incredibly simple. You can be churning these out in literally less than 5 minutes. You from making it, it's easy. So I hope you'll give this a go. All right. I hope you'll also then take it a step further. Make the enchiladas. My 7-year-old's cooking it for dinner tonight. You can do it as well. There's a beautiful enchilada recipe. There's 2 actually, and I've had highly recommended. Well, I made one like religiously for years, and then a customer highly recommended the second one, which I've made a few times as well, but we keep coming back to the first one. All right, so check that out. It is an Australian recipe. It's in one of our cookbooks, and I can't remember which one, but it's one of our standard Australian cookbooks. So you'll find it on the Australian Cookie Do. The other one's on the UK Cookie Do. So yeah, but check it out. It's super easy. It's amazing tasting. You steam your chicken, and then you dice it up with some tomato, and it's just beautiful. So if you're looking for dinner inspiration, I can highly recommend it. It's easy. I love a good easy recipe as well. But otherwise, one more thing. The other thing this is great for is your stack. If you've never made vegetarian stack from the vegetarian cookbook, this is amazing because you can also make these to the size of your tin that you're going to put it in. You put it in like a spring form or a cake tin and you stack it up. It's an amazing recipe as well. If you're looking for a cheap dinner, that one is amazing. It's just a gorgeous recipe, and I haven't done it in ages, but it just came to mind when you're talking about wraps and stuff. But I mean, obviously you can wrap this with lettuce and tomato and, you know, your standard wrap stuff as well. It can be wraps, it can be dippers, it can be enchiladas, it can be your stack, and the ricotta stack's beautiful as well. It's been a while since I've done that, but that's another great recipe. So gluten-free or non-gluten-free, doesn't matter. It is so easy and inexpensive to make this new Thermomix. If you need a hand with anything though, reach out. Okay, I'm here to help you get the most out of your Thermomix, so don't be a stranger. I do love to hear from you. And also on that note of reaching out, and I love to hear from you, if anyone out there is thinking about becoming a consultant, now is a great time to do so. Beginning of the year, New Year's resolutions, maybe it's to get a bit of extra cash for the new year, to have a holiday or make ends meet, whatever it might be. If you don't have a TM6, that's okay. You can join our Earn program where you can actually earn back the cost of the Thermomix or discount it. Even if you just get half as many sales, then you're actually getting a half price Thermomix, which is pretty sweet. So if you're interested, reach out. I'd love to give you information so you can go walk away and think on it. You know, make a decision as to whether it's something that's going to fit in or not. Many consultants do an in-home business where they go into people's homes and they demo with them with their Thermomix. You guys know my demos are 99% of the time now online, so all over Australia. That might be something you consider as well, where you actually showcase your Thermomix. Yes, and I'm on here with you guys on Facebook and YouTube showing you this now, but on the weekends and sometimes at lunchtimes through the week and stuff like that, I'm actually Zooming with people or on Messenger video call doing demos. So where it's like a home demo, but I'm Zooming in, and it's fantastic. It works really well for interstate, for people who are traveling, for people who don't want people in their home, they don't want to clean up their home, illness, just for those who just want it to be simple. Okay, so, and by the way, that invite's open to you. So if you ever want a demo to get a host reward, reach out. I'm here to help you. Or maybe just hints or tips, or maybe it's just to learn more about Thermomix, or maybe it's to learn more about Cookie Do. I don't mind. I can tailor it to what you need. You just need to have 2 friends who are watching on, and they might watch on with you in your home, or they might watch on from their individual places. I've had people watch on in their lunch break at work. Okay. So, and if you've got a Thermomix, they can come to your home if you're comfortable with them coming to your home, and they can cook on your Thermomix, and I can cook on my Thermomix through online. How cool is that? Like, our technology is phenomenal. Once upon a time we were confined to like our next door neighbors just about. And now it doesn't matter where you live, I can help you get a host reward, get more out of your Thermomix, get further inspired. And I love that. Now, and if you like to inspire people and you like to influence people, or maybe you just want to get a discounted Thermomix, then let me know. I'd love to get you further information. Absolutely zero pressure ever to do what I do. And certainly you don't have to do it the way I do it either. My business has evolved. Those of you who've been around a long time, you know that. And those of you who are new, welcome. Go back and check out the old dodgy videos I used to do. But it's been a fantastic opportunity for my family, and I'm so incredibly grateful that I was offered the business, and I took it up, even though incidentally the next week found out I was pregnant with a third child 10 years ago. So if it's something you're kind of curious about, you want to learn more about, then get the information, then you can make a decision on it. As I said, no pressure ever from me to either buy a Thermomix or join the business. It's got to be whether it's right for you. So that's it from me today. I hope you'll make wraps. I hope you won't buy them. Save yourself the ingredient. Like, every time I pick them up, like, the temptation's always there, guys, to pick it up. Okay, I walk past them like that'd be an easy lunch, and I read the ingredients on the back, and I put it back down. Between the price tag and the ingredients, I always put it back down. All right, so this is how you do it. This is how simple it is. Give it a go. If you need a hand, or maybe you're wondering, can I swap this ingredient in, Lisa? Will that work instead? Just ask, send me a message. I'm here to help. But otherwise, take care. I'll be back on another video tomorrow for you, helping you get more out of your Thermomix. Don't be a stranger. I love to hear from you. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.